Water woes in the Salisbury-Kulibistri constituency intensifies, but Dowasco manager says relief is underway. An assurance that electricity bills will not increase as Domlec continues restoration works. And Ian Pinard says Denise Charles is an ideal replacement as he bows out of active politics. I am Idonathan Baptist with the Channel 5 News. Details coming up. You're watching Channel 5 News. First up, water woes for residents of Salisbury to be addressed as a little over $1.5 million have been allocated for a new water intake in that community. Tropical Storm Erica dealt a blow to the Salisbury water intake, and since then access to pipe-borne water for residents has been unreliable. Parliamentary representative for the Salisbury constituency, Hector John, says the situation has been at its worst for the past 3 weeks.
In Salisbury, the young men assisted Dowasco to place back the pipes, and they built a temporary intake with sandbags. And that assisted us for a few weeks, months. But this year, during the dry spell started to get extremely bad, where some people don't get water for weeks. We are heading into the rainy season. When you have heavy rains, the heavy rains wash away the intakes last year. So the temporary sandbags will be washed away. What will be left with? In the Salisbury area, you have a few hotels as well. Sunset Bay, you have Tamarind Tree, you have Stone Edge. They are in the Salisbury area. You have the Salisbury Primary School, Kulibistri Primary School, the preschools, the health centers in Salisbury and Kulibistri. You have Monrachet. So all these areas have been affected.
A newly built water intake in Kulibistri, which serves Monrachet and Grand Savan, was also affected by the storm's impact. John says he is concerned about the lack of information from the authorities to address the matter in his constituency.
I must say that Dowasco visited the entire constituency earlier this year. They visited Kulibistri, Monrachet and Salisbury and had a meeting with the people from the community. But we have not seen the type of work being done in terms of rebuilding the Salisbury water intake. And we're not hearing anything from the government. It's a serious concern for us. We have been raising it. I've raised it on several occasions that we need the government to address the water problem in Salisbury. I'm hearing people villagers making noise about getting the same bill. They're not getting water in their homes, but they're receiving the same bill from Dowasco. And that is another concern that we have to raise with Dowasco and also the government.
Meantime, General Manager of Dowasco, Bernard Etinoff, has announced that work should start on reconstruction of the Salisbury water intake soon. The project will be financed through the Basic Needs Trust Fund.
The Salisbury one is in the region of $1.6 million, and the BNTF is committed to financing that. The government of Dominic has already approved that. And so we are working with the CDB Basic Needs Trust Fund to ensure that Salisbury has a new water system in quick time. I know a consultant has already been selected. This is the process that BNTF would follow. So very soon contractors would be invited to provide bids for the implementation of that project.
Storm Erica caused in excess of $10 million damage on the water system in Salisbury and Kulibistri. Plans are also underway to restore the Kulibistri water intake, which is buried under debris due to the passage of the storm.
We are in negotiations as we speak. We had a meeting with the contractors yesterday. At least 3 contractors who are providing cost estimates to clear the existing, or the new intake rather, and so that Dowasco can run its pipes to bring water down from the new intake in Kulibistri River to the areas of Kulibistri, Grand Savan, Salisbury, and even other parts of the West Coast the best we can. We have a deadline of 2 o'clock on Thursday for these contractors to provide the estimates. Again, going to be a temporary fix because we do not have the funds to do a permanent fix at this stage. But once that is done, we would, see water consistently in those communities.
Etinoff says the water company has more than 50% of the pipelines to run from the Kulibistri water intake to the supply line on the West Coast.
The other 50% should be here within a couple of weeks. So we are hoping that within 3 months of receiving these estimates from the contractors, we are going to be working with the government of Dominica to find the funding that is necessary to pay the contractors, to make the access and to clear the intake, and so that the WASCO can run the pipes and restore water more permanently.
In other top stories, consumers of electricity are being assured that restorative works to Domlec's hydro power station would not result in an increase in their electricity bill. Generations manager of Domlec, Dave Stamp, says while the restoration works to the company's infrastructure at its hydro plants is estimated to cost under $2 million, the cost of the project will not be reflected in consumers' bills.
It is not done in such a way that it will, because these works are capitalized and should not be reflected in our daily electricity rate fluctuations based on how they are put in the base rate in the mechanism. So you won't see that reflecting in any price volatility.
Stamp is reminding customers that the figures on their bills are reflective of the cost of fuel on the world market.
And price volatility electricity just continues to be based on the price of fuel on the market and the amount of diesel that we use, which is why we're putting this emphasis on the hydro restoration, because hydro operations reduces the amount of diesel you use and also keeps the price volatility down. So the hydro restoration from a customer point of view is very, very important, which is why we're focusing so much on it.
Restorations works to the Domlec's hydro system is expected to be completed by the end of the year. In more news, a select group of hunters is now better prepared to carry out sustainable hunting practices. This as a one-day workshop for hunters was held on Wednesday.
The fragility of our ecosystem demands great care in maintaining ecological balance and therefore a new understanding of the concept of hunting. Sustainability of hunting means that the use of these natural resources must be assured, not only in the present but also for future generations. Hunting makes an important contribution to the protection of ecosystems, as hunters are obliged to maintain healthy and biologically diverse wildlife populations and to protect their habitat.
Burton says Dominica's hunting season, which runs from the 1st of October to 31st of December, has played a key role in maintaining the country's wildlife population.
The abundance of wildlife that we now enjoy, and many of other countries, especially in our region, some of our neighbors do not have that abundance of wildlife species. And it's because, of course, of the role of the Forestry Division and all the other officers, the work that we've done in ensuring that we manage the wildlife resources, that has actually ensured that we do have still wildlife species that you are able to enjoy during the hunting season.
The Director of Forestry noted that climate change also affects wildlife species, and this is more reason for sustainable wildlife hunting. We
have seen an increasing influence on the populations in the wild. We're well aware of our crapo species, right, our mountain chicken, which over a decade ago almost got decimated by a chytrid fungus. What has happened to a crapo species can easily happen to a number of other species. Because there are a number of different postulations. Some people believe that because of climate change, some of these new diseases are arriving, etc. But so it's important that we even take greater prudence and in terms of our management of the wildlife resource. And as hunters, you have a very, very important role to play in assisting the division in prudently managing the wildlife resources.
The workshop is being facilitated by two retired forestry officials, namely Arlington James and Adolphus Christian. In related news, an appeal to hunters to help improve the country's wildlife population records. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Harold Gist, says the country's 40-year-old wildlife legislation has helped push Dominica's nature isle image. Gist, who was speaking at the one-day workshop for hunters on sustainable wildlife hunting, says many neighboring islands have used Dominica's wildlife legislation as a model for developing their own. He wants hunters and the public by extension to play their part in preserving the island's wildlife.
I want to encourage the hunters and those who are engaged in extractive use of forest resources to help in the conservation effort by providing data and information to the forest officers. This information is not to tax you or to penalize you. It is to provide valuable information and data on which management decisions can be made. So the hunters, we would like you to say, write it down on a piece of paper, how much manico, how much agouti, how many of these animals did you catch? How many did you see that escaped you? Where did you see it? And give this information to the forestry department so that it can help the department to determine the abundance and distribution of the wildlife in the country. You are there on the ground more often than they are when you are hunting.
He says he hopes the workshop will encourage hunters to be more obedient to the laws.
Persons will get a better understanding of the wildlife conservation laws of Dominica. And hopefully, we exercise voluntary compliance with the laws rather than by enforcement of the law, which results in fines and sentences, jail sentences.
This is Channel 5 News. When we come back, we'll tell you how the youth plan to get involved in the agriculture industry. Stay with us. Thanks for staying tuned. Outgoing Member of Parliament for the Point Michel Sufrir constituency, Ian Pinard, has publicly endorsed his replacement, Denise Charles, saying that her service in Parliament will do very good for the constituency. The 36-year-old accountant was elected at a special meeting of the Sufrir Labour Party Constituency Association Monday evening. Pinard, who's her campaign manager, told Channel 5 News during their house visit at Sufrir that Charles is an ideal candidate because of her community involvement.
And has been contributing significantly to the community of Point Michel, that's where she's from. I feel that the candidate is Denise Charles. She's a very good person, very caring person. She's a community person. You know, she has been involved already in all the community activities. And I think she will be somebody that is going to do a very good job in the constituency. I think the replacement will be my replacement will be very good for the community and the constituency.
Pinard says he is currently on vacation and concentrating on winning the June 7th by-election for the DLP. He says the campaign has been going very well.
We've been in the communities and people are now getting to know who she is. They heard her name, so they're getting to know who she is. And we're getting very good responses. You know, the labour rights in the communities of Point Michel, Sufrir, Scotts and Gallia have great reviews on her, and they're getting to know her. So they're trying to get more information on her. And so far, they seem very pleased. She was the campaign manager at the last general election, so I don't consider it grooming. She was playing a part. You know, nobody expected what happened to happen. You know, at the end of the day, I guess all of us just have to be ready in terms of, you know, what is going to happen, because none of us know what's going to happen tomorrow. And regardless of anybody that was selected, I would have been there, be the campaign manager, regardless of who was selected.
Pinard resigned as a member of Parliament last month, citing health reasons and a pending court matter over allegations of inappropriate behavior with a minor. Meantime, the United Workers' Party is sticking with their candidate for the 2014 general elections, that's Higgs Adams, to contest the by-elections. We'll bring you an interview with Adams in a subsequent newscast. A commitment to victims of domestic and sexual abuse that there will be confidentiality whenever their situation is handled by a victim support group of Lifeline Ministries. Andrea Louis has that story.
In less than 2 months, 20 individuals will be better equipped to support victims of domestic and sexual abuse. This as Lifeline Ministries will undertake a 6-week victim support training course starting next week. Executive Director of Lifeline Ministries believes the trainees will become advocates for change as the legal system is deemed archaic in its method of reporting cases of abuse.
The system is still traumatic. It's still very difficult to go and report something in the police station, although you will now meet a female police officer to take your report, which is an improvement. It's difficult to manage the archaic police protocols that need to change in terms of what actually happens to you when you go to make a report. And it's difficult to manage the examination in the hospital. It's difficult to manage when you have to go to court. And so we need victim supporters who will stand with people when they're going through those difficult experiences. And those victim supporters will double as advocates, because once they understand what's the matter with the system, they will join us to advocate for change.
Alexander says the 2-hour sessions will prepare the victim support trainees for the real experience.
We go through the whole process from beginning to end of making a report, and we walk with imaginary clients through that process. And many of our trainees say they're changed by the experience. You're allocated a particular person to befriend and support. The main thing is that it's very confidential, and it's also not usually somebody the person knows already.
A helpline was also established in March to coincide with International Women's Day. Though it is still in its early days, Alexander says some kinks are being ironed out and the helpline will be fully functional in the near future.
It's open during the day, that's not a problem. It's just the nighttime thing is a slight issue. We really need everybody to encourage people to report and not to be frightened that there's going to be repercussions. Dominica is more supportive now than it's ever been for people who need to report.
Thanks, Andrea, for that report. And an agriculture enterprise still on the cards for the National Youth Council. The plan, which has been on the NYC's agenda for the past 3 years, will focus on the production of goat milk, among other areas. First Vice President of the NYC, Charlotte Gabriel, told their inauguration ceremony this week the business will be managed by the NYC.
This enterprise we want to establish because we want to increase our resource base, but that's not the only reason. We also want to establish this enterprise so that we can make employment available for the young people. We can get the young people back in the agriculture business, as this enterprise that we want to do is based on agriculture. So having this enterprise, we don't always have to go out to find resources, but we can use this enterprise to get the resources that we need, that the young people are always asking for.
Meantime, Chief Youth Development Officer John Roach is advocating for a youth parliament as an avenue for youth empowerment.
Young people need the opportunity to have their voices heard and to be included in the decision-making process. Debatable issues which speak to the economic and social development of the country. How much weight do the views of young people have on influencing policies and legislation? Hence, the need for the installation of a youth parliament, which is an integral element of the Constitution of the National Youth Council of Dominica, where the young people of Dominica can participate in shaping the social and political landscape of the society which the youth envision.
That's news. Stay tuned for this week's edition of Flashback.
Welcome to another exciting segment of Flashback. On this segment, we are taking you back into our archives, and our focus is on aquaculture and agriculture. In 1995, the FAO and the Ministry of Agriculture, alongside fisheries, signed agreements geared at protecting and increasing the quality of the agricultural industry in Dominica.
The Ministry of Agriculture this morning signed 2 agreements with the Food and Agriculture Organization. One of these is a fisheries project and the other a coconut project.
The purpose of the fishery project is to help fishermen to restore their incomes following the losses experienced as a result of Tropical Storm Debbie.
The project was obtained as a result of a joint effort between the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries and Dominica's permanent mission in Rome.
The feasibility of commercial coconut water production and emergency relief for fishing industry. Funded at a total of $348,000 US.
The fishermen of this country have in fact continued to suffer seriously since Debbie, and they were looking forward to responses for requests for assistance for them, and I am sure by this afternoon they'll be able to breathe with a sigh of relief. Very importantly, we've been with FAO collaborating for some time on this coconut water feasibility study. That finally is getting off the ground, and I am very pleased that FAO could make available over $600,000 EC towards a program which some thought should have gotten off the ground quite some ago.
Good news is that the FAO has continued to assist Dominica through the years in aquaculture and agriculture through other projects, including overcoming risks associated with climate change. I'm Janik Delmar Samuel. Thanks for joining us on another segment of Flashback. See you next week.
We now join Kenny Williams for your sports highlights.
Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. First up in sports, cricket commentating lost one of its greatest when commentator and journalist Tony Cozier died on Wednesday. Cozier passed away in Barbados at 75. He was admitted to the hospital for tests relating to neck and leg infections on May 3. Cozier began writing on cricket in the 1950s, and although never having played the game, he became one of its most distinguished voices. Simbad Bal, ESPN Cricinfo's editor-in-chief, says Cozier was one of the most credible voices in West Indies cricket. In basketball, president of the Dominica Basketball Amateur Association, Jerry Williams, says the annual general meeting on Tuesday was a success. He says one of the highlights from their meet was the issue of players and referees being late for games.
What they challenged the executive is that they have been to games on time, and the officials, which includes table officials, the referees, have come late and they have waited, over their appointed time. We both executive and the body agree that we as the executive need to step up in regards to that, and that we have to stick to the actual time. The teams did realize that they need to also be on time, and so going forward, even though it was a little controversial, it helped in regards to improving the management and the timeliness of the sport.
Williams says the proposed adaptation of an affiliation fee was not supported by the majority, but believes it is beneficial for basketball here.
Introduction of affiliation fee, that's kind of an increase to the present fees that the clubs and the teams are paying. The majority didn't want it. A few members, vocal members, wanted it. They felt that, the team need to take more ownership of the sport itself and, contribute to us, because we have to pay affiliation fee to FIBA. And one of the arguments of some of the members is that they need to help in regards to those fees.
Meantime, in games carded for Thursday, the Marigot women team will come up against Lady Panthers in Game 1 at 7 p.m. At 9, Fashion Line Falcons will be hoping to add another win to their tally when they do battle with Signman X-Men at 9 p.m. The games are carded for the Massac Court. On the football scene, the All-Island League continues on Thursday with 2 matches scheduled. Here is Gerald George with the details.
In the All-Island League on Thursday, Haitian Angels will take on Daddy Chess Barford Ambassadors at 5 p.m. in the first match of a doublehead at the Newtown playing field, to be followed by White River Ballers versus Digicel Newtown Juvenile Academy Harlem United at 7 p.m.
Come with me to Bangalore for highlights from the Indian Premier League. Mumbai Indians defeated Royal Challengers Bangalore by 6 wickets on Wednesday. RCB, first at the crease, scored 151 for 4. Lokesh Rahul scored a game high of 68, while Chris Gayle was out for 5 runs. Set 152 to win, Mumbai Indians posted 153 for 4 in 18.4 overs. A. Rayudu added 44, while Kyron Pollard assisted with 35 not out. That's all the sports for now. I am Kenny Williams. Join us again next time.
The weather report is next.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I will be your presenter for this evening, Farah Rock Korea. Today, a low-level trough produced unstable conditions across the region and also some cloudy skies across Dominica and the rest of the northern portion of the windwards. Earlier radar imagery indicated shower activity across Dominica and the northern windward islands, also across the Atlantic Ocean. The weather tonight is expected to be mostly cloudy to overcast with scattered showers and possible isolated thunderstorms. Residents in areas prone to flooding, landslides, and falling rocks, please do exercise caution. The weather tomorrow will be cloudy at first, becoming fairly partly cloudy with a few brief showers, and also some breezy conditions can be expected. The marine conditions tomorrow will be moderate and waves are expected to be up to 7 feet. Small craft operators and sea bathers, please do exercise caution. The weather for the rest of the week. Tomorrow, Thursday, as I said, it will be start off as cloudy, then it will become fairly partly cloudy with some scattered showers. Also on Friday, fairly partly cloudy skies can be expected. However, Saturday, an increasing cloudiness is expected with some scattered showers. The weather for the rest of the Caribbean tomorrow. Again, some cloudy skies with some showers for the northern portion of Lesser Antilles. However, generally partly cloudy skies with some scattered showers can be expected for the rest of the islands. On the international scene, again, thunderstorm activity expected for Caracas. Beautiful clear skies for New York and Beijing. The sun will rise tomorrow at 5:37 a.m. and will set at 6:27 p.m. Feel free to visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Join us tomorrow evening for your next weather broadcast. Thank you.
To end the news, the headlines again. Water wars in the Salisbury-Kulibistri constituency intensifies, but the WASCO manager says relief is underway. An assurance that electricity bills will not increase as DOMLEC continues restoration works. And Ian Pinard says Denise Charles is an ideal replacement as he bows out of active politics. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Idona John Baptist. To our viewers around the world, thanks for watching. Join us tomorrow.